I have injected everywhere, taking acid. You are going to overdose again. Spent 29 years on drugs. When you've stood in the mirror, had a 1 mil needle hanging down the side of your nose because you're waiting for the swelling in your head to go down before you push a bit more in, you've hit rock bottom.
Keeley,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm very glad to be here.
Good, that's good. So we're not going to waste any time. Let's just straight into it. Tell me about your childhood, how you grew up, where you grew up.
I was originally from Telford. My grandparents brought me up. My dad was doing, I think he was doing 8 years for car ringing when I was a baby. I was estranged from my mum, not because she was doing anything wrong, just that's the way things were. I had a really good childhood as far as I was concerned. Travelled, went to America, all over the world, never went without anything. When I was about 12, I'd say I was a perfect child until
Yeah.
about then. So I was a gymnast. I got sponsorship when I was little. I was looking at Mensa. Yeah, and until then, it really was perfect. When my dad got out of jail, I had contact with him. He got a new wife and she seemed to be really, really nice. And then literally, she got pregnant and they just weren't a part of my life anymore. It was just like my dad was like, okay, we've got a new family. We don't actually need you anymore. But to be honest, it sounds not nice, but I didn't really care.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, my nan and granddad were my parents. And yeah, I hit 12 years old. I just couldn't be asked to school anymore. I was spending a lot of time. I remember I used to spend days on end in this flat. I mean, I don't remember where it is now. Just taking acid until like 4 days had be gone. And I mean, I feel so bad for my grandparents now. I was vile. I was really, really vile. I mean, I remember once after being treated so good for so long, saying I wanted to go into care, sitting with social services because
Saying
I'd
you wanted
called
to
them.
go into
Yeah,
care.
I'm saying I wanted to go into care purely because they were trying to stop me going out and getting smashed. Yeah, I was disgusting. I sat in front of my nan, which I hate myself for now, while she was crying, telling a social worker that I wanted to go into care and I wasn't going home. And I don't know what caused it. You know, people say, oh, it was because of this or it was because of that. I haven't got a reason. That was just because all my friends were doing it.
So at 12 years old, so were you with other 12-year-olds at the time, or was anyone older?
My friends from school were there, so there was about 3 girls from my school. But then I'd say the lads were probably 16, 17. But at the time, it just felt like it was normal. And then I started to fix up a little bit, and my granddad took me to work with him. And there was this lady at work that really respectable. Then found out that her husband had been in jail and he was getting out. And she asked me, if this sounds so bizarre now when I think of it, but back then it was, she asked me if I'd stay at her house in the day so that he wouldn't take drugs and I could tell her if anything happened. Even at that age, I know you're not a grass. So I was there. I mean, he was probably in his 30s. And there'd be people coming all day. And he was smoking heroin and that. But it didn't really affect me. Just these people come, they were really nice to me. And then this one guy came. He was probably, I was 13 by then. He was probably close to 21. He just, he was constantly on me all the time. He's so pretty, so this, and I was easily impressed. Money, gold, cars, and then he just kept going on and on and on. Go out with me, go out with me, go out with me. And I know it sounds mad because now, if you saw that, it'd be a massive deal.
Yeah.
There was no grooming then.
Mhm.
Well, there was, but no one knew what it was. There was no county lines or anything,
Mhm.
but it still existed. Um, I remember literally within a matter of 3 or 4 days of I'd gone out with him, we moved into his sister's house. I was so desperate not to live at home.
Mhm.
And there was never any reason for me not to want to live at home. But I just thought I was smarter. I was that smart. I should be with people that much older than me. Um, and I knew he was a drug dealer. So no part of me can say, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But we were smoking. To me back then, if it went in a king size visit, it was a spliff.
Mhm.
And we were smoking them. And I'd been at his house probably 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like shit. I can't come out today.
Mhm.
And he was like, you're rattling. And I'd love to say I was like, what? But I wasn't. I was like, well, I can't feel like this. And I knew that one of them spliffs would fix it.
Mhm.
And he was like, nah, if you don't inject now, once you've had a withdrawal and you're rattling, if you don't inject, it's not going to work.
Mhm.
So I remember him cooking up, and I remember there was a run. We had a runner that used to drive, um, and he was stood behind him. And all I remember him saying is, "There's too much in." I didn't hear anything else. So I remember I woke up. There was paramedics everywhere. I'd had an adrenaline shot in my chest. It felt like somebody had just run me over.
Yeah.
Um, there was police everywhere. Got took to the hospital. Again, not a lot happened. And I was in the hospital and he was saying, we need to go. We need to go because someone's going to come and start asking questions. And I was saying, I can't.
Mhm.
That because I'd said to the doctor when he first said it, I want to go. And the doctor was saying, if you go, what we've given you is going to wear off and you are going to overdose again.
Mhm.
Without touching anything else, it's just going to come back into your system. Because at the minute, we're giving you something every so often. It's not like now where you just have a naloxone shot. And so I remember coming out of the hospital and all the way home in the car, him saying to me, "You're fine. Stop being a baby. You're fine." And then I got back and I remember getting on the floor in the wardrobe and looking for pajamas and thinking my eyes were starting to close. And um, he didn't, I know now, I didn't know at the time, he did nothing.
Mhm.
So I was on the floor with my head in the wardrobe, apparently, and the runner that had come in to get more gear
Mhm.
had seen me in the wardrobe face down, and he took me back to the hospital rather than wait for an ambulance, just sped to the hospital. Not that that made me not go back. Um, and then obviously, once I had a habit, again, it wasn't hard. I didn't realize it was such a bad thing to have a habit because the drugs were always there.
Mhm.
We always had money. But thinking about it now, I was driving around with the runner at that age or going on my own on foot and meeting 7, 8, 9, 10 big grown men to sell them drugs at that age. And I mean, I'm not the biggest now.
Mhm.
I was tiny then.
How old are we talking? At
I was
this age?
13 then,
13, yeah.
yeah. So, like, this is when I first got with him. So it's not long after my 13th birthday.
Mhm.
Um, I was I was going to Liverpool twice a week, travelling to speak on the motorway. Um, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the man's name because he's very, very well known. I mean, it wouldn't affect him. He's in jail anyway, and he ain't getting out. Um, but if you're from Liverpool, it's a name that you know him.
Mm.
Um, and I was driving up there, and I remember I was picking up blocks of heroin that come in like house bricks,
Mm.
smashing them with a hammer until they were dusty enough so that if you drive with them, you could cut the bag out the window and whatnot. And there's so many times that I mean, I was very lucky. There was times where I should have been looking at so long in jail. I remember, do you remember Blazing Squad?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we were driving back from Liverpool, and I used to stop at the same service station every time, smart,
Yeah.
to inject in toilets, fix myself. Well, Regional Crime Squad had obviously got onto this. They'd come down from London, they'd set up this operation. But it happened to be at the same time that Blazing Squad had stopped their tour bus
Mm-hmm.
in the services. So all I remember is walking in and going, there's Blazing Squad, and police just coming from everywhere. Blazing Squad went on like they were bad, they screamed. Literally, one of them squealed. So they came from everywhere. I remember getting dragged out, and literally, when we'd been, but there was a drought on.
Mm.
And I think I'd picked up 2 ounces of heroin. That's it. And it was purely for personal use because we needed it. And because them police were so eager, instead of taking me to a proper police station, they took me to a motorway service station for police.
Mm.
So there was a shower. We got there, the lights didn't work. So one had a torch, one had the flashlight on their phone, and I'm stripped off, and I'm thinking, I'm fucked. I'm fucked.
Mm.
And they were saying, oh, crouch. You used to have to crouch. I'll show they're older. So I've crouched down. I can feel it. It's pushing out. Literally, I'm thinking, oh my God, it's on show blatantly. And I remember saying to me, all right, get dressed. I was thinking, are you shitting me? I've been stopped. I saw CID once, and I think I had about 4 ounces of crack. And I saw her just as she saw me, and I thought, if I run, she's gonna catch me. So I just walked up to her, and she was like, well, I'm assuming you haven't got nothing, being as you've walked up to me. And I was like, oh, feel free to check me. So there's so many times that I could have got caught. I got caught once because some guy grassed on us, and I took the blame because I was the youngest and I'd get away with it better.
Yeah.
So I think I got something like a conditional discharge for that. But then the man that was in charge, who I don't want to cuss because out of everyone, he did take care of me. He didn't like the fact that I was that old, but I know he could have stopped it.
Yeah.
I know that. But he did look out for me. He went to jail. He had the money, the means to have whatever he wanted. So I was going up again every weekend. I was taking him an ounce of gear at a time, and he was getting different people to come out and collect it on the visits. And I remember going to Stafford jail, and this guy come out, and we'd been a couple of times and seen him, and he seemed safe. And literally, I heard the radios before I saw anyone move, and he was just holding it. And I was saying, give it back, give it back. And he just stood, and when they grabbed him, he just went, she gave it me. It's an ounce of gear. And I was like, the fuck. So I got 2 years for that.
So hold on. So how old were you when you were just for the audience, because they probably don't know. So
Oh
you were
yeah,
bringing
I've rushed through that one.
so you were bringing drugs into the prison for
I was doing that for a couple of
prisoners.
years before I got caught.
So just explain to the audience, how does that work? How does that whole process work?
So when I was doing that, I was probably 15, 16 by then. You crutch it. I used to pick the stitching in my pocket, because if you wear a skirt, they know why. I'd pick the stitches in my pocket, and then when you go to the vending machines, I'd put my hand in my pocket, loose jeans, to get the money out, push my fingers through the stitching, because when they do it, they just rub you down. Push my fingers through the stitching, get it out, push it up my sleeve at the vending machine, and then we'd sit, eat crisps and whatnot, and then both of you would have the same packet of crisps. Slide it out my sleeve in there, carry on eating, then both put your crisps on the table while you have a drink, and then take each other's crisps back. So then he'd have that packet in his hand to take it out and then plug it. I mean, yeah, it's not pretty.
On the visit.
On the visit, yeah.
So he's plugging the drugs on the visit.
Yeah, to take back to the guy that
Oh, well, I'm
ran
assuming he's
everything.
going to the toilet during this.
No, it's all
No.
done. Yeah, it's all done
Oh
at
my
the
god.
table. Um, so yeah, they were a man. He would pull himself to the front of the seat
Yeah.
and then literally either reach around the back of his trousers. You wait until normally you'd have somebody. You'd wait until there's normally always a disagreement or something or some kids screaming. You wait till there's a little bit of noise, and then or I'd get up and go to the vending machine so they're not watching the table as hard because there's only a prisoner there. They pull themselves to the front of the seat and either go down the front or back of the tracksuit bottoms. I mean, yeah,
Wow.
it's not nice. Um, but yeah, I was with that guy from when I was 13 till 17. I had one little break in the middle, um, where I got back in touch. Well, my mum heard what was going on. I don't think she knew the extent of it.
Mhm.
Um, she came and I went to live with my mum for a while. Uh, that didn't work out. I ended up going back. Within 2 days of being back in Telford, I was back with him. So
Mhm.
really that entire time
Yeah.
I was with him. It's really hard to put everything into like a chronological
Mm.
order because I've spent 29 years on drugs. So I can pinpoint I was with this person when that happened.
Mm.
But it's very hard to put it in order because it's been so long. It's been like more than half of my life.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember, I mean, he was a big guy. He wasn't like some little skinny dude. He
Mhm.
was a big geezer. I mean, everybody was terrified of him where we lived. He used to beat the shit out of me. Um, and I remember I wouldn't cry after so long, and it used to drive him. It'd make him worse, but my pride wouldn't allow me to cry.
Yeah.
And then I don't really care if this makes me sound like a bitch. He got some mental health issues
Mm.
where he a form of psychosis. So he wouldn't come out of the house at all. So but it wasn't agoraphobia. It was he saw things, he heard things. Um, and I mean, we'd done some bad things together that I'd never really wanted to do in the first place. I mean, the amount of firearms charges that I'd had by then as well that I'd managed to either get away with or knew the right people that knew people to get rid of them. Again, I'm going to jump backwards because yeah, I'd already been arrested for a sawn-off shotgun
Mhm.
where he'd lent it to another dealer. Instead of them ringing and saying, "Oh, I'm going to bring it back round at 7 o'clock tonight," they rung and said, "I'm at the front door."
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm stood there with a sawn-off shotgun wrapped in a bin bag.
Mhm.
Didn't want to take it in the house, so I put it in the bin cupboard. I didn't know it was bin day the next day. I was a smackhead. I didn't put my bin. Do you know what I mean? So the next morning, I took my dog out for a wee, and I could literally see armed response peeping around all the corners, and that was a charge. Um, we got burgled once when we'd been raided, and somebody told us it was a next door neighbour. So I went round on the night time, cried through the letterbox, saying that um, something had happened to him. Uh, let me in, and obviously they thought he had drugs, they would let me in anyway. Um, and we went in with a sawn-off shotgun and a hammer, shattered this girl's jaw, beat him with this shotgun, shot their back windows out. It wasn't even them.
Oh.
Um, yeah, so I remember sitting in court for that, and the guy that was in charge, the one that I ended up taking things to in jail, he paid well. He got told it cost £10,000 to make them drop charges, but it was actually five, and the person in the middle just
Yeah.
made a nice cut on the top. Um, but yeah, he after all that, like he got psychosis. Our house was We couldn't have guns in the house because we were getting raided all the time. But I mean, we lived in flats with where you go out and you've got the glass balcony.
Mhm.
They were literally strapped. The poor people downstairs had no idea that in there, so between our floor of the balcony and their roof from outside pushed in,
Mhm.
there was guns in that bit. Um, he he would pull them on me randomly.
What, the guns?
Yeah, I mean, one day he did it, and then he dragged me downstairs to the jeep, took me up to it's a place called the Nedge.
Mm.
It's like woods, fields, and it was raining. It was really, really wet, and he was like, "I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill myself." And I'd managed to talk him out of all of this, but by the time I'd managed to talk him down, the jeep was stuck in the mud,
Mm.
and we had to call the guy that was in charge again to come and get us. And I never told him what we were there for. We lied and said that we were looking for one of our runners had threatened to kill himself. Such a random story, but it worked. He got this psychosis where he couldn't go outside, which kind of, in my eyes, turned the power a little bit.
Mm.
So, I mean, I was a bitch. I'd walk out the house with all the drugs, stand at the end of, like, you know, where you come out of a flat and you're on like a balcony and there's lots.
Mhm.
I'd stand 20 foot away from the door and he'd be sweating and crying. And he'd be like, "You've got all the gear, you've got all the gear." And I'd flick it so it landed on the floor and watch him crawl to get it and think, "Do you know what? How many times have you done this to me?"
Mm.
Um, and that's when I started to realise that I can't stay here. And it had also started to dawn on me, other people saying to me, when I'd say, "Oh, we've been together for years," and they'd be like, "Well, how old are you?"
Because as you say that, I'm listening to you, and I don't. The audience would realize, but in this whole time, you're a child.
We'd been through the police station together, though. We got arrested together so
Mm.
many times, and no one ever came to me and said, "Why are you with a man that old?"
Mm.
Um, I mean, they'd say you need an appropriate adult. If he wasn't with me, he'd be allowed to come in and be my appropriate adult.
Mm.
There wasn't all, I mean, I'm making myself sound really old, but there wasn't all the things that there is now
Yeah.
in place. Um, but I started to realise when people were like, how have you been together that long if
Mm.
you're only that old? And I started to think, you're a nonce. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And yeah, I should have gotten that a long time before, but in a way, I kind of felt like before that, I'd wanted to be in that position. I wanted to sell drugs and I wanted the gold and the money and the cars, when really I should have been doing what normal kids were doing.
Mm.
So I went to jail. I was in jail again for possession, and I thought, I'm not going back. So I sorted out with the prison. Um, as a young offender, sorted out going somewhere else, and they moved me to Birmingham.
Mm. So this is from Telford
Yeah,
to Birmingham,
yeah.
which at that time was probably even worse.
Well, literally, I thought, oh, Birmingham sounds amazing. Um, my habit it had gone down because I'd been in jail, obviously,
Mm.
but I'd been on methadone the whole time.
That's
So
the medication
yeah,
to,
the replacement.
yeah.
Um, so shit. So I've come out of jail. I'm still on the methadone. They've put me in this like a shared flat above the post office in Cape Hill.
Mm.
I mean, it was smack city. It was just a crack house above a why you would put that many junkies next to a post office, I have no idea.
Mm.
But we were in there, and obviously I started using again. Um, I'd lost my script. I felt like shit. There was people that I knew from jail that had come there, and I'd been seeing this girl in jail. I mean, I wasn't even gay, but I'd been seeing this girl. Anyway, she got out. They put her in the same shared house as me, so apparently this was going to continue. And I just hadn't got I hadn't got the art to be like, I'm not feeling this. Um, but I had other things to concentrate. Turned out she could do nothing money wise.
Mm,
I've always believed that I used to see shoplifters come to sell stuff to us, coffee, cheese, bacon. Why? Like, I don't get it. So my habit wasn't massive at that point, but I still thought theft is theft.
mm,
So, and I had two habits to support now, not just my own,
yeah.
because she was using as well. So I started going out and getting not so much massive designer stuff, but more tracksuits and aftershaves and things like that. And my habit grew.
What was the drug of choice at this time?
Heroin.
Heroin.
Yeah, I've done crack over the years, but I was that junkie that would go and buy 30 bags of heroin, and I'd buy 20 shots, but 15 of them were for who I was with. Literally, the other five were to go in the digs.
I have a question because I always think of this because because obviously, um, just like what you're going to get into, addicts, they never go a day without getting drugs and they're not cheap.
No,
So I never understand it. Like, how are you supporting this habit actively and it's not a cheap habit.
you have no option. Obviously, everyone's got different ways of supporting
Mm,
the habit. I'm not cussing what anyone else does because I've got a lot of friends that work the beat, do whatever. Yeah,
mm,
and you do what you need to do, and I get that. But I've always been a big believer if a man can raise, then so can I.
mm,
Um, so shoplifting was my choice, and I justified shoplifting to myself because I wasn't hurting anyone.
mm,
I wasn't violating anyone's home. I wasn't scaring some old lady in the street. I get now that it actually isn't a victimless crime, but for me it was for all them years.
yeah.
Um, so my habit grew and grew and grew, and slowly it got to the point where I was putting, I mean, if I explain to people, most addicts will buy their drugs, and when they cook up, they'll put two, maybe three bags in a spoon when they cook up.
Mm,
Got to the point where I was putting 9 or 10 in a spoon. When you can't use the pots that they give you at the chemist because your gear doesn't fit in there,
mm,
and when you put it in your needle, it's thick like treacle. Um, I'd have men, again, 5 times my size, sat next to me and looking at me like that'd kill me. And I'd do that 3 times in a row, still look normal, and get up and walk out. No gouching, no nothing.
mm,
Um, so obviously that took a lot to support. So it started where I'd tracksuits and aftershave and that, and it just wasn't bringing in enough money. So I'd started going out and I was stealing more designer stuff like Alexander McQueen handbags, Versace backpacks, Gucci, anything. If it had a massive price tag, I'd take it. I wouldn't walk out of a shop if it was a designer shop with less than 5 grand's worth of stuff.
mm,
Um, and you see, if I walked out and I was fine, I'd go back in. I worked it so that I had people are going to be judging already, and I don't think anyone that's not been in addiction realizes what a rattle feels like.
mm,
And the best way that I've got to explain a rattle is I was in a crack house, probably 18 years ago now, and there was a fire, and I had a choice, jump or burn, but I was on the fourth floor. I mean, there's an argument on this. I think it's a fifth because if you're falling, the ground floor counts. Um, so I had to jump, and I broke 2 bones in my back, my pelvis, shattered my right arm, snapped my left wrist, fractured my skull, and impaled my leg. So I managed to get myself out of the back garden where I'd landed because no one would have found me.
Mm.
Got outside to the street. I just want to big up all them people that remember this situation if they're watching, that walked past me, stepped over me because that junkie in the street. Um, Air ambulance came and said, "Oh my God, what happened?" And all I could say to that man was, "I'm rattling." And he was like, "Your whole body's shattered. Like, you got my arm was concertinaed.
Mm.
This hand was touching here." And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I don't care. If you fix my rattle, we can deal with everything else after that." So when someone says they're withdrawing and people are like, "Oh, I'm like that when I haven't got a fag. You should see me without a coffee." Shut up. Like
Mm.
literally, it's it's the worst pain in the world. I've never been scared of anything. You could tell me that there's someone in a room somewhere that wants to shoot me, and I will walk in there to find out what it's about. But a rattle, I was terrified. It was all I was ever scared of, and you're just constantly on a countdown till the next one.
Mm.
And only one thing fixes it. Most things in the world, you've got options. There is no options when you're a smackhead. So I started going out and I was taking thousands of pounds worth of stuff a day. And I had to turn it into something more logistical. If people think smackheads are dumb. We're not. We're.
I I I don't think so because again, with the whole funding the
Yeah.
addiction, I don't think the average person would be able to fund that much money
Oh, not a
in a day.
chance. If you took the average junkie that raises every day, took the addiction away and put them in charge of a company, they'd be the best CEO you've ever had. Um, So yeah, I mean, occupational hazard. I got arrested plenty of times and I went to jail. I've been to jail 28 times in this country,
Oh wow.
3 times in Amsterdam. I mean, yeah, I missed the Amsterdam bit out. I had a firearms charge and I had a drugs charge, supplying the police station of all places. Um, the guy I was with was in the police station
Mm.
and I took his drugs in and they got found. So massive idea. I'm going to go to Spain. I'm going to get a job. I've only got an ounce of gear on me, but it'll work. Um, so we got on a ferry. I had 2 dogs at the time. This was the only way I can put time on this is I remember putting my 2 dogs in a caravan
Mm.
and gaffer taping the curtains up and saying, "How the fuck are we going to get away with this when it's just been 9/11?" So it must have been around that time. But we did. Um, so we got to France. We'd probably been there 7 or 8 hours, and I was like, "The gear's running low, you know." There's me and this guy. The
Mm.
gear's running low. Atlas out. Oh, it's only 4 hours drive to Amsterdam. We'll score there. So we drove there. Yeah, 18 months later, I got deported from there. We just literally never left. It's junkie heaven.
Mm.
Um, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't shoplift when I was over there to raise my money. We were robbing. I didn't want to violate people, but I did over there.
Mm.
We were robbing hotel rooms.
Mm.
So, I mean, we had a ring of keys at one point. We'd robbed the rooms and that, and they wouldn't change the locks. So it got to the point where we just had probably 100 keys.
Where were you
And I
getting the
think
keys from?
when you go out and you steal someone's bag, you take the keys.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
because
yeah.
at night you could just go. A lot of the time as well, we'd go to. I remember being in one where people sleep in like bunk beds.
Yeah, like the hostel thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we went into one of them and there was loads of lockers. And I remember a girl sitting up in bed, and I was like, just keep still, because he used to work. Keep really still, and they go back to sleep.
Mm.
So kept really still. Took the stuff out. Do you know how unlucky I am? So the next day, we was on the main street, and I was going through my bag. I was looking for a pipe for him, and I couldn't find it. And I'm thinking there was 3 in my bag, but couldn't find it. So wait there, I've got that purse from last night, it's got change in it. So every shop in Amsterdam sells pipes. So I've walked in, I'll never forget this fucking purse. So it was a little pink purse and it had a pig's face on it. I've opened it, and as I've got it out and opened it, I've heard this behind me. Of all the shops in all of Amsterdam, 2 girls that are behind me in the queue, one of them is the one that sat up in bed the night before. So literally, I've heard this gas note, and you just know it's because you've got that out. So I've gone to the till and I was like, oh, I just want to hand this in. I just found it outside. I tried to leave, and yeah, you can't get away from their police. There was already police outside. They look like the Terminator over there. They've got helmets all the time, 9 mils. Yeah, so that was my first time I went to jail. Terrified, thinking it was going to be like sitting on the floor, with a bowl of rice. And
Yeah.
why I thought that, I don't know. I got to the police station. They were like, oh, do you want some methadone? Do you want some temazepam eggs? I mean, they were banned in my country. I was like, oh, yeah. Then he opened this big locker and went, you can't smoke your own cigarettes, but we've got all the... I was like, this is all right, yeah. And then you get taken to a special cell at night that's got like a TV built into the wall and that. I was like, this ain't so bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't even do a rattle. So I got out the first time. They let me out on street. The next time, I went to rob a hotel room and a rucksack on the floor, but the bit you put over your arm?
Yeah.
The leg of the bed was put to it. There's something good in it when they're doing that. So I've cut it, because the way it used to work is one of the guys would come with me. They'd hold my trainers. I'd tiptoe in. I had scissors and all that to do things. So put the strap on the bag. We're out of there. As I'm putting my trainers back on the stairs, I've heard their door slam. So we've run into the red light district. We knew a lot of the girls there. Banged on this woman's window. She's let us in. These people weren't letting it go. Kilo of weed in their bag. That's why they weren't letting it go. Do you know the police still come, Yeah, like literally, this is illegal and whatnot, yeah, but that much of a fuss had been caused. These people made up that much of a fuss that they got themselves arrested and me. Why would just not let weed go?
Yeah.
It's the second time went
And they
to
can't get
jail.
the weed back anyway, can they?
No. Do you know what I mean? They don't own a cafe or anything like that. They're on holiday there. You can't, got themselves nicked. I don't know what happened to them. Went to jail, got let out again on street. By now, I don't really care. Jail's that easy, not fussed. It's all open anyway. I mean, I've been in worse Premier Inns, to be honest. So anyway, I got nicked again on the third time. I can't even remember what that was for. It would have been along the same lines. And then it was about a week before I was due to get out. And they come and took me to, because I had no passport, I'd sold that. They come and took me to the embassy to get papers to deport me. So in my head now, I'm thinking I'm going to go back and I'm going to have this charge and that charge. They're still going to be waiting for me. When I tell you I'm unlucky, I'm not joking. I did all that. My 2 charges got acquitted while I wasn't here. They got dropped while I wasn't here, but I never contacted anybody to find that out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, got deported back. I was like, that was when I was in Telford. So, yeah, went back to him because he'd left me there, by the way. When I went to jail the second time, he couldn't hack it on his own and came back. So I think I went back to my nan and granddad. So I was there a couple of days and went back to him. So that's the Amsterdam bit.
Yeah.
I mean, how people are going to understand it. I don't even understand my own life. So yeah, when I was in Birmingham now, my habits getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and just going out every day and picking up random things was not giving me the income that I wanted. So I started a WhatsApp group, slowly added more and more people to the point where I had nearly 200 people on it. Um, and I knew every one of them. I knew their paydays. I knew what brands they liked, what ages their kids were,
Oh, wow.
when there was special occasions coming up.
So just to be clear, this WhatsApp group is customers.
Yeah, all
Mm.
buyers, all of
Mm.
it. So then I would go out, and then as I've come out the shop and I'm getting on the train or wherever to come home, so I would travel. I mean, I've
Mhm.
never drove, but I would get on the train, travel an hour to nick 5, 7 grand's worth of stuff all day long. Um, and before people think, oh, well, you went to jail 28 times, getting nicked once a year, yeah,
Mm.
for, if you're taking 5, 7 grand's worth of stuff a day, they're getting 5, 7 grand's worth of stuff back. What about the other 364 days a year that I didn't get caught? So I'm sick of hearing, you went to jail 28 times. Okay, you go and commit crime every single day. And again, jail didn't help me in any way. So I started this WhatsApp group. I started all these customers on here. I'd come out of shoplifting, I'd get on the train. I don't know if anyone thinks there's CCTV on the trains and that there ain't, or buses. They don't look at it. I would line my stuff out on the seats, foil wrapped around all the alarms still.
Mm.
Take photos of it all. Within 20 minutes, it'd all be sold. Money would be bank transferred, or I could collect it when I got back and drop the
Mm.
stuff off. Um, and then, obviously, if you're stealing that much stuff a day, people start looking for you. So I was having teams from different head offices of big retail stores coming from Leeds, Manchester, to try and catch me in different areas.
Mm.
So I started ringing stores in the morning, and I'd ring and somebody would answer and I'd say, "Good morning, it's PC 24517.
Oh, wow.
I'm calling about the theft on Thursday." There's always a theft on Thursday. It's a massive retailers.
Mm.
And you'd get some absolutely helpful lady on the phone that'd say, "Oh, there's no security today." "Oh, isn't there? When would I be able to call back?" "Oh, well, they work between 11 and this time and this time." And I'd have all of that written down in a book, and I'd
Mm.
do that at 20 different stores so that I had like a list of where I could go and when. And I knew never to hit the same shop for more than 2 days in a row, because that third day is when that team's going to be there.
Mhm.
Um, I was, I was tired. I was fucked. I would get up in the morning. It was costing me £300 just to get out of bed, just to feel out. Not even probably as good as you feel now, just
Mm.
to function. Um, everything was. By then, I had another partner. I'm with this one now, but again, I'm the only one that grafts.
Mm.
So I'd be out 10 hours a day. Literally, people think again, junkies are lazy. Trust me, whatever needs to be done gets done. Um, so I would be out all day shoplifting. I wasn't one of them people that'd go and make 50 quid, come back, because that little bit of money wouldn't have done me. I needed my money in one big lump.
Mm.
And then I'd come back, be awake until like 4, 5 in the morning, sleep for 2, 3 hours, and I'd be back out again. And
Mm.
when you've done that continuously for that long, I was horrific. I was a mess. I was that girl that you'd walk past in the street, and when they looked in your face, you'd, yeah, because I
Mm.
mean, I looked like I'd been dug up twice. My teeth were all gone. Apart from I had one little half of one that it didn't even go downwards, it went forwards.
Mhm.
They were black. They were that bad that when I had my teeth took out at the dentist and she went, "Would you like to keep them?" I was like, "No, they look like they're auditioning for a fag packet." It was just all getting too much. I mean, every time I got arrested for the last 10 years, my withdrawal got that bad that I'd get to the police station, and I don't know how much people know, but you don't get any help in the police station for withdrawal.
Mm.
You just get put in that cell and left. There is no treatment that they give you. So I'd get there, and then within 10 minutes of being in the police station, booking in, the custody sergeant would say, someone needs to ring an ambulance now, because they say 3-hour wait if you're not bleeding or not breathing.
Yeah.
He'd say, someone needs to ring it now because we can't cope with her in 3 hours. I would projectile vomit blood up the walls. I
Mm.
had a mini cardiac arrest, seizures, hallucinations. Um, so not only did I cost money in all the theft that I was committing, when I actually got arrested, even in that, I cost 3 times more than I should. So I'd have the police station open for me.
Mhm.
And obviously, they don't send you to the hospital on your own. Sometimes I'd be in there for 9, 10 days with officers round the clock who, because they're with me, aren't out on response.
Yeah.
So their wages are being paid to sit with me. My cell's open, but I'm also due in court. So that's open for me as well. So I'm
Mhm.
also costing money there and the money in the hospital. Um, when I look at it now, there's things that at the time I never realised. So it got to the point where every single security guard everywhere knew me.
Mm.
I I just I didn't care. I still went and smashed everywhere. I mean, people say, "Well, how is it possible?" And I haven't got an answer. You become very sneaky,
Mm.
and you do whatever you've got to do to get in. I mean, I've crawled into shops.
Mm.
Right, I've walked with groups of people. I mean, if ever you're walking in the shop and there's some random person next to you just laughing, yeah, I used to do that. Walk next to big groups of like teenagers laughing away. As soon as they got to where I wanted, just cut off. Sometimes they'd be looking at me like, "Who is she and what is she laughing at?" Um, I've been in shop windows undressing dummies, and people are walking past the window like, because I did not look like I worked there.
Mm.
Um, and when I look at my pictures now, I don't know how I even got in a designer shop. I didn't look like I could afford to sleep in their doorway, never mind go in. I was a disgrace. Um, yeah, it's embarrassing when I look back now, which is weird because I looked like that for at least 20 of the 29 years. Do you know what I mean? And that was
Mm.
just how I looked. But you tell yourself, it doesn't matter. And I know that there's a lot of people out there now that, as rough as they look, you put on a nice tracksuit and you think, oh, I look good. You don't. You look like death in a tracksuit.
Mm.
So my group got bigger and bigger, and shoplifting got harder and harder. I mean, when COVID hit, there was no designer stores to hit.
Yeah.
I was having to go out. But you know what? Again, the government, they fucked up big time on that because, as well as they should, homeless people were put somewhere.
Mm.
Everybody was catered for, but drug addicts. Life didn't stop for us.
Yeah.
When people say to me, oh, well, couldn't go out. Yeah, you couldn't go out. I went out every single day. I queued outside 3 supermarkets, 2 hours at a time, pushed out trolleys with like a grand's worth of stuff in a trolley. Nothing stopped for us. The dealers still managed to get to us, considering no one was allowed out.
Mm.
Um, but obviously, life got harder. Money still kept coming in, but my health just got worse and worse. I remember having septicemia once, and I wouldn't go to the hospital because I couldn't rely on the person that I was with to bring my drugs.
Mm.
So I wouldn't go. Um, there was a bus stop probably 4 minutes from my house, and I was that bad. It was taking me like 55 minutes to walk to it, to get on the bus, to go into a shop that had just opened on my high street, and they were putting Xbox, PlayStation games and that out. There's so many times that I remember having an abscess on my leg that I nearly died from, and an abscess sounds minor. I've had loads of them. This was like if you took my head off and added it onto the bottom of my leg.
Mm.
It was huge. Um, And I remember we were in a hotel. I'd gone to A&E and somebody, you gotta love social media, somebody had tried to film and take a picture,
Mm.
um, for the junkie with the massive leg, and I lost my temper and walked out. Um, and I remember lying in that hotel bed, and they bring on mad hallucinations, thinking, "What am I doing?"
Mm.
And they say it takes a big epiphany for someone to stop taking drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many big things could happen for me. My granddad died. I wasn't there. I didn't. I missed it. My little brother he died. Um, he was like 17.
Mhm.
I wasn't there for that. I wasn't there for any of him being ill. I broke my back, and they told me I might never walk again. That didn't stop me. I got, God, I mean, I got kidnapped for 4 days. That was, yeah. I mean, without going massively into it, that was horrific 4 days. That didn't stop me.
Was that to do with drugs, like drug dealing and things like that?
No,
Mm.
I was in Amsterdam. I was actually going to meet somebody, one of my mates, to go and rob some hotel rooms.
Mm.
And a van pulled up next to me. My Dutch wasn't amazing. I knew enough to score and enough to order food. But I knew that the symbol on the side was for fire extinguishers. So the guy wound his window down and asked me if I knew directions to the dam rack, which everyone knows where that is. I lived on the street behind it.
Yeah.
So as I stepped forward to point, the side door opened and I got dragged in.
Mm.
Um, I got took to a flat. And to be fair, I'm not going to lie, I've had my revenge on it.
Mm.
I was kept there for 4 days. There was four men and his wife, one of them's wife, which is worse than anything else. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? And I remember there was a little boy there.
Oh,
But
wow.
I remember being there and thinking, after all of this, when this is done, they're not going to let me go because I've seen all their faces. I am covered in DNA. There is not one part of me that thinks that I'm leaving here in
Mm.
any way, shape, or form. But after 4 days, my withdrawal was literally all that mattered. Um, so I remember feeling like shit. I'm coming in the bedroom, dragging me out, back down to the van, and I was thinking, you can imagine the mad things you're thinking, I'm going to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
killed and dumped here or whatever. They literally drove me back to where they got me and just put me out of the van. Um, and you know what? When people say addiction isn't powerful, first thing I did wasn't go and get in the shower. First thing I did wasn't anything. I walked into that red light district where the dealers were. I
Mm.
remember I had a skater skirt on and a white jumper. The white jumper was covered in blood. I had blood all down my legs. I had no money.
Mm.
And the dealer looked at me and just went, "What the fuck?" Gave me something. I went home, fixed myself, and then got in the shower. So if it comes above things like that,
Mm.
it comes above everything. People don't lose their kids, sell their bodies, and do whatever for nothing. Um, so yeah, none of them things made me stop. And then I was arrested again for shoplifting, no doubt, because that was an occupational hazard. And I was lying in a hospital bed, and I remember this copper appearing at the end of my bed with this drug worker woman telling me that the security guard from the shop that I've been hitting, because it wasn't the same shop every time, but I had hit this one store over and over.
Yeah.
But it was that high street retailer. I would travel for one of their stores.
Mhm.
Um, he'd asked them to come and see me. And it didn't resonate with me at that time. I was thinking, yeah, I don't care. I'm dying. Please leave me alone.
Mm.
And they were telling me about there's this new drug out and it can help you. And it nothing could help. Like literally, as far as I was concerned, I was going to die a junkie, whether it was going to be soon, as an old woman. that was what was going to happen. And not, I wasn't happy with it or content with it, but that, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, and they left their phone number and it got put in my prop bag. And I paid it no attention, to be fair. And then I carried on shoplifting probably another couple of months. I was getting really, really ill. Fentanyl hit, and
What year was that?
oh God, say 2023 when fentanyl hit. So I'd OD'd in the past lots of times, always accidentally. But I had the fentanyl, and because I put so much in my spoons, I'd injected, and I'd probably put in not even a drip of like the gear, and it knocked me for 10 hours. I didn't wake up. I woke up and everything was still in a needle. And it seemed to be that every single day, I used to be able to spot fentanyl because I had so much gear in my pin, it would look black. I don't know if it shows up like that for other people. And it just kept happening. And I'd love to say that I sit there and think, oh, that's got fentanyl and I can't use it. I've just spent how many hundreds of pounds on how much gear and I need it. I was taking that risk every day.
So the drug dealers were putting fentanyl in.
Yeah, I
the
don't think
drugs.
it was our local drug dealers. I think it was coming from like further back in the chain and that, because it seemed to be a countrywide thing at the time. Not that I would have travelled to get something different, it's
Because
a
I
risk you
wanted
take.
to ask, because now, obviously, because you said that's why I asked you the year, because in 20, around that time, obviously, we've always had drug addicts in Birmingham, but around like 2023, 2022, we've started what people will call zombies, like people just like either standing, sleeping,
That's
literally.
Mamba though, isn't it?
Is it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like I mean, Mamba. I've tried Mamba in jail, like, but me and my mates would do it like a tiny little bit on a pipe. See these people that are smoking it in spliffs. You know you're fucked when a junkie who looks like shit walks past you in the street and goes, "Fuck that! I wouldn't do that." Do you know what I mean? If the likes of me was looking at you sat on the floor with no shoes on, like in some random position, and says, "Yeah, that shit's not for me," then that's what happened in Birmingham.
Yeah,
Mamba
okay.
hit, and Mamba's cheaper than gear, so a lot of smackheads replaced. And that's not an offensive thing. I've called myself a smackhead for years and years. A junkie, smackhead. I don't call myself an addict, and I don't. It's not what I was as a junkie. Yeah, it's cheaper, so people go over it because it's cheaper. But at the end of the day, it's alloy cleaner. It's either koi carp food or alloy cleaner. No, koi carp. Sorry, koi carp. What they knock them out with when who operates on a fish? But yeah, that's what it's actually for. It's not for me. So that man had come to see me, and then a couple of months later, ironically, I was looking in the drawer for clean needles, and I found the number. Um, so he came to see me, and I found out that the security guard that, I mean, most security guards I got on with because, they're doing their job, and as far as I was concerned, I was doing mine. He had gone out of his way outside of work, contacted them and said, nah, you know what, she's a good girl, she just needs help. Um, and I was like, well, what is it you think is going to fix me? Because there is nothing out there that can. Because I mean, by that point, I'd had 57, I know now, unstarted probation orders because I never used to go to them. They would just get out of court free cards. But I remember going to probation and a probation officer saying to me, "Oh, it's all right, Keeley, as long as you come once a week, you don't have to stay, just sign your card and go, because you're a career shoplifter anyway. And yeah, nothing's going to change, is it? If people like that don't think I'm going to change, how the fuck am I supposed to see anything different?"
Yeah.
So I got put on this prescription. I agreed to give it a go. So the day before my prescription, I went out as normal, shoplifting, took the same amount of drugs I normally would on the night. Woke up next morning and thought, right, I'm going to do this. Which, trust me, sounds like nothing when it's the thing you're most scared of in the world. And I decided, I mean, I don't know if people watching know Hagley Road, yeah? Not the nicest area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a hostel on Hagley Road, and it is the worst hostel in Birmingham. There's no artwork on the walls. You go down the corridors. Between each room, there's a big needle bin on the wall. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do my rattle anywhere, I'm going to do it somewhere like this, because people go to rehab and everything's nice and shiny, and then you got to come back to the real world where there's dealers and people using. So I started doing my rattle. So did the girl I was with. 8 hours in, I'm dying by now. She's give up. She was like, I'm I'm gonna score. Please ring somebody and get some money. Because I used to be able to buy, because I made so much money, I could ring one of my buyers and say, "Oh my God, transfer me 100 quid and I'll pay it back later." Um, but I still didn't use then. I don't know why. I don't know where that willpower came from. And then I spent 10 days in that bed, swimming in my own vomit, hallucinating, seizures. It's like shit was coming out the ceiling. Because I'd been put on, it's not Subutex now, it's called Esprinol, and it's like a blocker. So I'd got myself, would I have got clean if I hadn't have got myself into the situation? Maybe not. Once I took that, I had a choice. I could either wait 2 days and not have the medication, and then I could take gear again, because if I mixed them, it would fuck me up.
Yeah.
Or I could keep taking it every day and hope that it got better. So obviously, 2 days away and I can have gear, or that medication might make me feel better today. I was going for the quick option, which turned out better for me in the end. So I had been doing that. I finally managed to get out of bed after 10 days. I still felt like shit. 3 months it took me to get my injection, purely because nobody could get any blood out of me. I've got no veins. I mean, when I say no veins, I mean, I have injected everywhere. I mean, see this big vein in my head? I've even been there. I mean, when you've stood in the mirror and had a 1 mil needle hanging down the side of your nose because you're waiting for the swelling in your head to go down before you push a bit more in, you've hit rock bottom. So it took quite a while to get. And then they took me for my first appointment when I'd finally found someone who could get the blood, had all the tests. There's a new injection called Buvidal. So it's something that you have once a month, and it sits under your skin, and it slowly disperses through your body. I literally went and got that injection that day feeling like shit. I'd had enough. I was thinking, you know what? Shall I just not even go and get this injection? Just fuck it. 2 days and I can just feel better. But, you know, they encouraged me, go, go, go. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. I had the injection. I went home. I woke up in the morning. I felt I'd slept properly. I was hungry. That was fucking unknown.
Yeah.
I had no cravings whatsoever. And I mean, at the time, the girl I was with, she was using in front of me. I had no cravings. I mean, I could go outside and there'd be people scoring left, right, and centre. Didn't interest me. it, after a couple of days of being on it, I
Mm.
could even go and score for my partner at the time and it not bother me. Carry it back, hand it over.
Mm.
Um, and that's when I always knew that what I was doing was different to what other shoplifters were doing by the amounts and that.
Mm.
But when I got taken to visit the people, I mean, for once, the security guard that helped me, his store, um, his store alone, and I was not going in one shop a day. In 2.5 years from there, I took £3.5 million worth of stock that they know about. I lost prevention UK. I've worked out that looking at charge sheets and estimated it come to over £30 million worth of stock
Oh my God.
in 24 years.
Mm.
So if people keeps it's not possible. I haven't just plucked that figure from nowhere and thrown it out there. I had no idea myself.
Mm.
But if they're saying that that's what they know about, oh, it was way more than that.
Mm.
Um, and it it sometimes blows my mind that I caused nothing but problems for that guy, and he still went out of his way in his own time to get me help.
Mm.
And I've only been I've only been clean for 23 months as of today. Are we doing this as of today?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I've only been clean 23 months, like as of today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could never have imagined what my life would be now. So since I got clean, I have to save the most important bit to the end because so I've I've done Sky News, BBC, ITV 3 times, Channel 4, Channel 5 3 times. I've lectured in universities. I've done insight work for stores that would have cried if I even put them on their car park before. I've given events at the Old Bailey twice for the mayor, like the Mayor of London's room. You have to be invited. I've done an event at the Shard for massive security companies like Zinc, ASOL, like so many things that I would never have thought. And then I travel around now and train police in addiction because
Mm.
they know nothing about addiction. It's not their fault; they don't get any training.
Yeah.
Um, I also travel around the country meeting up with police crime commissioners to try and help them start the program that I'm part of here in their areas. Um, I won the National Business Crime Solutions Award, which a shoplifter winning is fucking unheard of. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's literally put together by retailers. I mean, I've been on Good Morning Britain a couple of times. It's so much has changed in such a short amount of time. I do outreach work for people that are still in the situation that I was because hearing something from somebody that's never been in that situation is so different to hearing it from somebody that there isn't anyone that I can go and see that most of them I actually know, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Because you know what? I was the worst, the worst. And anything you're going to tell me you've done, I guarantee you I've done worse.
Mm-hmm.
And most of all, um, I swear, I can't even tell myself this story about crying. So I didn't see my mum
Mm-hmm.
for 24 years. And even then, it was not for long. And the last time I saw my sisters, they were like 3, 4. Now they've all got babies of their own.
Oh.
I speak to my mum way more than is healthy. I'm such a baby. Thank you. Yeah, I get to be an auntie. So not only did my life get fixed from literally the shittest, most fucking bullshit life in the world, it fixed other people's as well, because my mum got a daughter, my sister, I'm the oldest. They got their big sister back. I've got my nieces and nephews. And now, all I want to do now is make people see that you can't write someone off. It doesn't matter how long they've been what they've been or what they've done. Everybody has got a right to be clean, and all they need is the right help.
Yeah.
Sending people to jail again and again and again ain't changing shit. And at the end of the day, I went to Westminster the other day to try and advise on pathways for drug services. And I keep trying to drum this into people. Police take an oath when they start being police to prevent crime and to save lives, yeah? So for every addict that you help, saving lives isn't just seeing someone stabbed in the street and stopping them from bleeding to death. Saving a life is saving a life. So if you, instead of putting somebody in jail that's got an addiction problem that can't help what they're doing, because they can't. No one, when they're a kid, says, when I grow up, I want to be a junkie. And no one commits the crimes they commit because they've got a choice in it. You have no option. And I would put my life on it that I don't care who you are, the most upstanding person that you can find. If they felt the pain of a withdrawal, or they went through addiction, they would commit the same crimes. And I just want people to realise that it it's not just down to the police to arrest people. If they treat addiction and they treat the root cause, they're preventing crime and saving a life. And that's what every single one of them signed an oath to do. And people in the street, when you walk around and you see somebody and you think, oh, fucking dirty little junkie, then the state of them, everybody's got their own story. Nobody chose to be where they are. And maybe if there was a little bit more compassion in the world, yeah, for everybody that's walking around like they're so much fucking better than everyone that's on drugs, people need to realise they're probably 2 or 3 mistakes from being there themselves. It's not hard. It's not, oh, well, that had never happened to me. It can happen to anybody. And you know what? Most of the people that I've met have got an awful story for why they ended up where they were. My stories only hit the news purely because the amount of money. That's why, the only reason that normal people, as they like to call themselves, normal people have sat up and listened to my stories, because it had a 30 million price tag on it. No one gave a shit about anything else. It just purely comes down to people are interested in money, and that's the only reason. And if that's the way I've got to make people listen, then I'm glad I took 30 million quid's worth of stuff.
So in a nutshell, you would say that most people that are people that are addicted, they need their drugs to function, to
Yeah,
stay alive as
yeah.
well.
And at the end of the day, you know what? If people have got cancer, people that have smoked too much, people that are overweight because they've ate too much, all of them things, you know what? Hospitals treat that. Why? Because we pay tax on cigarettes and food and alcohol. If you're a junkie, you just rot. We can't function without, and if you needed something to stop you being in the worst pain that you could ever imagine,
Mm,
I promise you, you'd go out and do what it took to get it.
mm,
People don't do the things that they do for nothing. That woman that had her kids took away, she didn't choose that. She chose to, and I'm not saying it's right what anyone's done. I'm just saying I understand where why it happens.
mm,
I'm lucky I didn't have kids. I can't say that the same wouldn't have happened to me if I did. So I just want people to realize that, you know what, if people are going to listen to my story because of the amount of stuff I stole, then if you're going to take something from it,
mhm,
take that it can happen to anybody, and every single person that you look at like shit is somebody's son, daughter, sister, brother. Could be you one day.
mm.
Could be your kids. I was a child, could be your child.
Do you think, because a lot of people, included the police, they say, for example, obviously drug dealers are where addicts get their drugs from. So the police and I guess normal people say that if you take away the drug dealers, then you won't have addicts.
There'll always be a drug dealer.
Mm,
You can watch a drug dealer get nicked, and before that man has probably booked in at the police station, there's 2 new phone numbers in his place. And at
mm,
the end of the day, in my phone, I used to have, yeah, I'd score off the same person as much as possible. But I'd have 20, 25 backup numbers that I could try. Dealers, dealers are like faggots on the street. There's probably more of them.
mm,
You're never going to take away the drug dealers, so why not take away the addiction? Because junkies will always find a way. Because you know what? If you take away the drug dealers, then they're just going to have to go to pharmaceutical drugs
mm,
until that until they've been treated, and you take it away. There's nothing that's going to. You can take away drug dealers, and you can stop this and stop that. Doesn't stop someone withdrawing.
mm. So what we have to say to anyone that is in your position, in the position that you were in now, what advice would you give them?
First, I'd say parents need to watch their kids and don't assume that even the nicest child, the nicest, happiest child, it can't happen to, because it can, and it will happen fast. So
Mm,
pay attention to what's going on. Um, and anyone that's in my position or has got anybody that they care about that's in my position, there's there's not enough help out there. But if you want it bad enough, there is. You'll find it. Um, and I don't believe that anybody is happy living the life that they're living, because it's horrible. It's Groundhog Day.
mm,
Literally, you're not even living, you're surviving and you're existing. And there's people used to say to me, I used to see people when they'd got clean, and I'd think, oh, fucking good for you. This is what I do. Yeah, I'm good. Well, it's not. It's an excuse. It's what you tell yourself to make yourself feel better because you're not going anywhere.
mm,
So if I can get clean after 29 years with a habit like I had, looking like I did, there's hope for everybody.
mm,
So if you, yeah, I mean, people can see my before pictures, and my before pictures make me cry. I used to look at that in the mirror every day. Yet now they make me cry. I used to be so heartless, and now, oh, cry like a bitch. You get emotions and all sorts when you get clean. Yeah, they didn't tell me that when I did it. But yeah, anyone that's in that situation, it's what you deserve.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for coming down to the stool today. Thank you for sharing your story. And I really hope that you continue the rest of your life being clean and happy as you are.
Definitely.
Thank you. And that's a
Thank
wrap.
you.